Hello, folks. This is Ed Overstreet, and welcome again to the Night Sky Imaging channel. And we're picking up where we left off last night, so let's get started. Hey guys, we're outside again, and we're on Jupiter. Hang on a minute, I think. Did I just lose? Ha! Just go imagine. This isn't a very good ad for Splashtop. So let's reconnect to our outside cameras. It's not Wi-Fi, it's just that Wi-Fi is fine. It's that Splashtop has been crashing. They did an update, and they should have just left it alone because it was fine. All right, we've got two laptops booted up. Let's do the third one, and we'll have everything booted up we're going to use tonight. Okay, now let's go back to Saturn. I'm going to probably call it Saturn. Somehow or another, I've got it on my mind. And so, just give me a second here. All right, I am trying to make sure. No. Well, okay. Okay. We should be. I'm gonna have to adjust this and find out what frame I'm on here. Let's see. We want to go. I don't know what I've done, but hang on a minute. North a little. Huh. This is from last night. Ignore. And we're going to have to go east. Went too far north. Ignore. Go south. We don't have a good aim. Technology. I'm using the sunspot. All right. We fixed that. Now, let's try this again and see what happens. We're fighting some clouds tonight too. Okay. All right, good. Finally. All right, good. Finally. All right, good. Finally. All right, good. Finally. All right, good. Okay. Now, all right, we are on Saturn, and when Jupiter gets high enough in the sky, I'm going to head over to Jupiter. Once again, the seeing conditions aren't predicted to be real good tonight. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I use several different weather maps for seeing conditions. Let me take you over. This is called the Clear Sky Chart, and the top line right here is sky cover or cloud cover, and that looks pretty good until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it shows we're going to have about 20% clouds, and then throughout the rest of the night. So I don't know that I'll be able to image all night the yet to be decided target. Transparency is really, really good, but seeing is going to be terrible. And so we want to see dark blue everywhere. Now, this is one interpretation of our sky over Spartanburg. Here is another one by the NOAA National Weather Service Station that says, cloud cover wise, that we're going to be okay until about 10 p.m. and then the clouds are going to start building. So it may not last long tonight. Here's another one that's not working. Let's reload it and see. There we go. I am right here where my arrow is, and you can see Eon is on its way to rain in my backyard. So there's a real good chance, just depending on the flow, this is headed actually right over my house. So there's a real good chance that we might get the clouds around 10 o'clock. So then I've got what I consider to be one of the best. Let me refresh this because it could have changed. One of the best weather predictors. And this is telling me right now, and this has changed. I had clear skies about 3 hours ago all night. Now it's showing that we're going to start having high clouds building up around 10 o'clock, 11, 12, so forth. And this is the scene rated index number 1. This is the one I usually pay the most attention to. However, index 2 and the jet stream are horrific. And consider that the jet stream is moving at 50 meters per second right now. That is moving wind. And so if I'm shooting through the jet stream, I like it around 12, 13, 14 meters per second. This is just very, very high and unmanageable. And this is going to create some of the problems we talk about when we talk about seeing. So there's other weather maps that I use. Clear Outside and Atmospheric is also a very good one. And this has my scene, which is this line right here. This has my scene is very poor. It still keeps my clouds. It shows my clouds are in pretty good shape, but seeing overall is pretty poor. So enough of the weather. We're back on Saturn, and we're going to follow it until we can't follow it anymore. And then when Jupiter gets high in the sky, we're going to stay with it until we can't stay with it anymore. And that's what we've got. Before I came online, I worked on focus. There's a guiding pulse right there that moved the Saturn to the south a little. And it's worked its way back. Let's head over to the other kit. Not that one. Not that one. Let's see if we can find it. It's going to be number 1. Oh, that's number 1. It's going to be number 2 then. All right, there's number 2. So let's put this here. And I haven't decided on a target tonight, so I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to bring up my planetarium software. And this is the celestial North Pole, and my mount is currently parked pointing at the celestial North Pole. And so we have a variety of targets that we can image. And I was thinking maybe we'll do a galaxy like M31. And let's try M31 and see how that works. I started it earlier this year and it took an hour or two and clouds came in. It's probably what will happen again tonight. So let's use M31. So I want to go to Tools, Framing and Mosaic, and I'm going to type in M31 and fetch it. It's found the RA and deck address, and it's found it. So let me get rid of this. So there's what it's going to look like, and I want to frame it with my, this is the size of my sensor. I've entered all of the specs. Here is my sensor size, and this is my field of view. And so it now knows that if I take a picture of Andromeda, it's going to look something like that. So I'm going to create a sequence, and I'm going to change the name somewhat. I want to put the date in 9 and 2722 underscore, and I want to put the camera I'm using and the telescope, which is the SV Stellar View 70 triplet. So I'm also going to copy this because I'm going to use it again, and I don't want to rotate the mount, and I want to replace the one target that's there. So here we go. We successfully created a sequence, and there it is. Now I'm going to have to find a place to save the file, so I'm going to go to my external hard drive and create a new folder. I'm going to paste this in here. So the new folder is going to be called 9/27/22/M31/1600 SV70T, and so we have a place to save the file. Now I need to start cooling the camera, so let's go ahead and turn it on. And let me start the cooler. I'm going to turn that on, and we're going to cool to -15 degrees. I need to turn on the filter wheel, the moonlight focuser, and the mount, and the weather observing sensor. So we've got our gear turned on, and I'm going to take so my stars first, and we're going to take R, G, B, and then we're going to take L, some Lume, and some R. We got two more events we need, and we'll take R, G, and B. All right, let's go up to our stars, and we're going to have this is red. So we got RGB, Lume, and RGB. All right. So we want to put R in here, not L, and we want to put G in there, and B. Then we want for luminance, and we want R. Let's scroll down. Actually, I can make this a lot easier by just going down here and RG and B. For the stars, I'm going to take 5 seconds. I'll take 20 of those. I'll take 5-second stars for both RG and B. Not 55, and let's do 20, 20, 20, yep. And for Lume, I'm going to take 30 seconds. I'll take 60 of those. For red, I'm going to take 45 seconds. I'll take 60 of those. And green, I'm going to take, let me check this off. I'm going to take 45 seconds. Actually, I'm going to take 100 of those. And 100 of those. And that'll be 3 hours. Can I get 3 hours in? 8, 9, 10, 11. I doubt it. Because of clouds, let's try 80 each. And that'll be 3 hours. That'll be 8:46, 9:46. Actually, after dithering and all of that, let's go back to 60. And that'll work. We can go ahead and delete this layer. We don't need it. Our event. Okay, so our camera's cooling. We can go ahead and let's check out some things here. Let me go to my planning tool. We are right now at 34 degrees. That's kind of low to start imaging, but I'm going to get some in before the clouds. And so we'll have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and say 4 hours. So maybe the clouds will hold off to 1 o'clock. If it is, I'll get this in. If not, well, we'll do it another day. All right, let's go ahead and let me bring up my outside camera. And let's go ahead and slew to the target. Yep. I know. And let's bring this back up. And actually, I lost my signal. So let's log back on again. Okay, it's already moved over, and we can go ahead and center. We're going to plate solve now. And we're plate solving on Andromeda. We're going to image Andromeda in RGB. The moon will not be a problem. So I'm free to shoot RGB. And oh my goodness, we're way off in RA. 21,000 pixels off. I was off a lot last night too. I got to find out what's going on. I got to reset my encoders. Too lazy to go out and do it. I'll just trust Sequence Generator Pro's plate solving logarithm to reposition them out. Ooh, that may not work. May have to do another one. All right, let's do it again. Let's just center it. It's in the right place. Hello, folks. Thanks for joining. I've got Saturn on the other telescope right now, and kind of waiting for seeing to settle down a little bit. And we'll go over and look at that in a minute, but I want to get this started. And I'm going to start an imaging session on Andromeda. Now we're 87 pixels off in RA and 16 in DEC. That's a whole lot better. And you can see Andromeda is pretty much in the center. So this run right here will really center it for me. I shouldn't be but a few pixels off. Hopefully. It just moved it. We're 3 pixels off in RA and 2 in DEC. That's super good. Our cooler hasn't gotten there yet. It's still at 4.7, but I'm taking such short exposures, I don't care. I'm not going to have long exposure noise-induced issues anyway, So I'm going to go ahead and run the sequence. It's going to do a focus. Yep, it's telling me to wait till it's minus 15 degrees centigrade, but Celsius, but I'm going to go ahead and start it and override that. And it's going to replate solve again, start the guider, and do an autofocus routine. So I've got a few minutes anyway, and it will be close to minus 15 by the time everything is set up. I'm not doing anything but watching it happen. It's going to focus now. It's going to focus using the red filter because that's how we're starting. We're going to start with the red filter. It defocused about 60 steps, and you can see the stars are clearly out of focus. And it's going to move it in a little closer, and it's going to be a little better focused when it takes the next image. And slightly better. And the half flux radius moved from 8 something to probably 6. So it's improving. And it's racking in the focuser another 15 steps, and it's better. As indicated by our graph, it's gone down to a half flux radius of 3.6, and it's going to take another photo and probably 2 more, racking it in. We're at probably 2. Yeah, I'll go ahead and sleep. We're finished with you. And the stars are getting very sharp. We're watching the focus routine, and now it's predicting that I should set, or it's going to automatically set the focuser to a step size of 7973 with a half flux radius of 1.1, and it has a quality rating of 100%, which is really telling me only this. It is 100% certain that, knowing no more than it knows, that's the right focus point. And it's staying with that right now with a quality certainty of 97%. So it's starting to defocus now in the other direction. And it's going still further it's racking the focuser in. When it started, it racked it out 60 steps, and it came in 15 steps at a time. It's kind of how it works. And the defocus is even easier to see. This will probably be the last one, and I'll take a validation exposure. And it is, and now it's going to take a validation exposure, and with a 96% certainty quality of 79 at step 7976. So that's where it's set the focuser. And again, we're working on the red filter, and it's done. So it's going to close it in 3 seconds, 2, 1, letting the mount settle. Now it's going to run another plate solve to recenter. It's doing that because it shut down guiding while it was focusing. It's kind of hard to focus when the mount's sending sudden pulses to correct foreseen conditions or mount issues. So it's going to recenter, and then it'll start the guiding up, and we'll start imaging Andromeda. And again, we're going to do the stars first. And so it's resuming the guider down here, and then we'll start taking these 5-second red, green, and blue filtered images, 20 each, and that will be my star field for Andromeda. You'll be surprised though. Okay, we're taking the first one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you'll be surprised how much detail a 5-second exposure will have. Okay, this is Andromeda taken at 5 seconds. So it's quite a bit of data there for 5 seconds. Pretty cool. And so it's taking another one. We're finished now. It's going to do its thing until the clouds come. So we'll be knocking off the red, green, and blue and then taking longer exposures for the actual galaxy. Let's head back over and see what else is happening with... I'll be on this laptop in a minute to process some of yesterday's data. So let's go over to Saturn and sit and watch it. I'm going to set up an imaging sequence. I don't anticipate this being very good, but what else we're going to do? We are live again. This isn't from last night. This is another live session. I'll image live almost every night that I have clear skies. If I'm going to have skies that may or may not hold on those nights, I typically won't go live. Simply because I may be shutting down no sooner than I start up. But on clear sky nights, which we were initially promised for the entire night, that is changing. But it's changing because of this right here. I live right here where this arrow's pointed. And Eon is making his way to my backyard. So this has changed for us. Tomorrow we're supposed to have winds and probably very little rain, but some winds. And then Thursday night and Friday, we're going to have this part right here, the green, that intense rain, and that's going to go on until Sunday. So saith the weather soothsayers. So that's hard to say. And I think regardless of who's right or wrong in this prediction, we are going to get rain. And it's going to last until this thing goes out to sea. And what happens after that, I don't know. By the way, this is a real time. I know it's about, it's delayed maybe a minute or two, but this is one of the best weather maps. It's from the College of DuPage, and I think that's in Michigan. And I stumbled on this. Actually, another YouTuber, Chuck Aoud, was using it, and I snatched it off of one of his YouTube tutorials. That's where I got it. It just occurred to me, and I really count on this. It's very helpful. All right, let's go back and see what's going on. Look at Saturn bouncing around now, and it's not the mount moving. Now, tomorrow night, if the skies were clear, the mount could be moving due to wind. That could happen. But Kijan 3, welcome back. Yeah, I was impressed with the DART mission too. Yes, we see asteroids. I've been taking deep space pictures for a long time. Well, deep space pictures that were usable. I guess my first really decent deep space pictures were about 2010, although I started in 2009. They were pretty rugged. And so when I have a lot of clouds and I do not have any data to process, I'll pull up Andromeda, for example, that I took this year, and I'll pull up Andromeda that I did last year, because I shoot a lot of these targets every year. I try to get better. Processing software is continually improving, so I have new tools. I have every reason to reshoot it and try to get better. But then what I do is I like to put the images up and actually layer them on top of each other, because I typically use the same setup, the same telescope, and the same camera. Not always, but I typically do. And I can blink through the images, and I can look and see if anything's moving. If there's a star that's apparently a star that's moving. And so, yeah, and you can find, you can find them. They are everywhere. So you can have a lot of science up there that, for a person that's not scientific, and I'm that, I can even pick up on it. And of course, I've been helped by others who showed me what to look for. But now that I know what to look for, it's kind of a It's a fun way to spend a weekend afternoon if you have some downtime looking for asteroids. Most of them already have a name. Um, and if you think you have one, you think you found one that you can check and see if it has a name because you can plate solve it. You can put it up on an internet and it'll tell you if it's a new one. And they'll name it after you if you find one. I don't think I'll find one because I'm not real sure they're going to want to name an asteroid Overstreet. Here comes the Overstreet asteroid. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound right. Now, Brad Pitt. Um, hmm, Sounds a little better. Ah, I digress. Actually, there are times when the scene looks like um, the detail on the rings is what I'm looking at. Even though it's bouncing around, I mentioned earlier the jet stream is moving at 55 meters per second. That's moving, and I'm shooting through that jet stream. So there's a lot of turbulence. I prefer the jet stream to be in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meters per second range. And I've seen it up to 80 some odd meters per second. You can get that information from this website right here. It's called Media Blue, and here's the jet stream. And tonight, sometime, well, it's 46. It's going to be right around midnight, 11 to 12 o'clock. It's going to be hitting the mid 50s all night. And scene is going to go in the tanks to a you can't get any lower than 1 for index 2. Index 1's going to have to do with transparency. This is going to have to do with turbulence. So transparency is pretty good, and you can see over here on this website that cloud cover looks pretty good until about, they've updated this until about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, then it's going to start changing. Transparency is good almost all night, and seeing is pitiful. And I like it. The Clear Sky chart has used my observatory as a reference for South Carolina, for the upstate of South Carolina. I applied for that, by the way, and you can do the same thing. If they don't have one around you, then they'll see. My name is up there. Yay! Let's go back and see Jupiter. Not Jupiter. I'm going to say that all night. Saturn. I do know the difference. Now, I'm not going to get a clear picture, I don't think, Keaton. I don't know. Thank you for the kind words, though. It is awesome to see this. I always like to put kind words up. I hope no one's in the eye of the hurricane down there, down in that's watching. I grew up in central Missouri until my middle school. We moved to Central Florida, and that's where I went to high school and college at Florida State and so forth. And we had our share of those tropical breezes. Florida's a fun state to live in when you're young. We were about 40 miles from Cape Canaveral. Saw a lot of a lot of space shots. We didn't have to go there to see them. During the spring, we'd get our dates and drive over to Titusville Pier and rent a lantern. I think it was 50 cents. You could rent a lantern and net, and we'd catch shrimp and crab. We'd bring coolers with packed with ice, and we'd go home with 30, 40 pounds of crab and 30, 40 pounds of shrimp, and keep it on ice. And the next afternoon, our parents wouldn't let us cook them inside, so we had to fire up the old hibachi, steam them, boil shrimp, melt 10 pounds of butter, dip them in butter. Those were the good old days. But then the tropical breezes that bring you to Florida can blow in at 150 miles an hour, and that's not something you want to live through. It's not just the breezes. We just have so many tornadoes that come along with the hurricane. We had a lake. We lived on a lake, and in fact, if you live in Florida, you live on a lake. It's hard to find a house that's not on a lake. But we lived on a lake. It wasn't a really big lake, big enough to water ski on. But we were probably, let's see, I would say we were 50 yards the back of our home to the lake beach end. And when Hurricane Hugo came through, the water was in our house. It came all the way up. It filled the lake up, and it came up to our house. That was in Orlando. And snakes. Mercy, we had snakes. In the, let's see, from 1960, when we moved there, to we sold the home about 8 years ago. My mother passed, and she went through multiple hurricanes, but nothing quite like Hugo. Hugo did us. Was it Hugo? Donna. Wasn't Hugo. It was Donna. Donna that did us in. Donna. I think Hugo went through New Orleans. I'm old, guys. I may not have even Donna right, but I'm pretty sure it was Donna. In about 1960, I won't look it up, but if you're Googling Hurricane Donna, I think it would be about 1965, 63. I graduated high school in 63, and it was before that, so 62, 61. I was still in high school. Yeah, Key John, we have tornadoes too. Good morning, Dire Crew. Glad to have you back. Starting to feel like family. I'm back doing exactly the same thing I was doing last night. Kind of waiting for Jupiter to get high in the sky, and it's still very close. And I'm going to go over and take some more images of Jupiter. Right now, I'm taking images of Saturn. My guesstimate is that the seeing conditions tonight are pretty similar to the seeing conditions of last night. It doesn't look too different. But I am up against clouds tonight because I was showing the group here that the hurricane, I live right here in the upper state of South Carolina. We're right at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And so that helps us, though. The mountains help protect us from some of the stuff coming from the south. Because high currents come over from what I understand, I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but meteorologists tell the high currents come over the mountains, and they help to move some of the things that come in from the tropics away from us, at least in the upstate. But that's what's happening right now. So I don't know if I'll have clear skies all night or not. It's changing as I speak. Every time I boot up the weather, every time I boot up something like medial blue. Well, it's gotten better. No, it hadn't. I was almost all zeros 2 hours ago, and now it says that I'm going to have high clouds. Are going to cover 15% of the sky at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 23%, by midnight, 39%, and then by 2 o'clock in the morning, not counting the medium high and the low clouds, but the high clouds. And that's all from that hurricane. Thank you, Ian. So let's go back. We do have Saturn in our line of sights, and we're imaging Saturn. We're capturing 20 frames, and we're doing 20 files, 20 AVI files. Each one is 3,000 frames. Now, I'm going to go over to our other telescope, and it's focusing. So it's changed. It's about done, though. No, it hadn't started. So we'll go back to Jupiter and wait for this to happen. But I didn't know what I was going to image tonight. I finished up Pac-Man last night. I got really, really good data all night long. And so that's yet to be processed. I'm still working also on the Cave Nebula. What you saw yesterday, it was very green. I'm still working on it, but here's the Cave Nebula. It's coming along. I still have a lot of work to do on it, but it's there's some blue color that's going to come out really pretty soon. So hopefully I'll finish this one off in the next probably tomorrow sometime, and put it up on Facebook and put it on the Night Sky Imaging Night Sky Imaging website, which is my website. If you go on Astrobin and you look at pictures people have taken, you'll see that mine are very average. I think from my little corner of the world, given that my equipment is modestly priced, I don't have high-end astronomy equipment. Nothing I have is observatory grade. It's pretty much it is all consumer kind of gear. It's not Walmart telescopes. It's pricier than that, but it's not. You can get into this hobby. As far as hobbies go, it may be the least expensive hobby to get into. It's not as expensive as hunting. People pay more for guns and bows than I pay for a telescope and camera. The mounts are probably the pricier things, but they're not. Take up boating and see what you spend, or golf. So as a hobby, I think it's a great hobby, and for men, you can be at your home. If you have young children, you can bring them into the hobby. It's a lot of science that is just great for your kids to be part of. It's great for you to be part of. It makes you think. You have to figure stuff out, and for an old man like me, I need that. And so it's just a terrific hobby, but you first have to have a passion for learning it, because it does have a learning curve, but it's worth it. If I can do it, I'm really a good example of someone who doesn't have a lot of math background in college. I did get a degree in economics and statistics, but a minor in statistics, but I went to Florida State. That's probably all I need to say. And I played sports there. So I would like to tell you I'm on the high end of the IQ chart. That's just not true. So if I can pick this up and learn how to do some of these things, anybody can. And there's a lot of anybody's out there that are doing it and doing really well. So if you got the Astrobin and you looked at all the imagers, you're going to see some really, really outstanding images people have put up. And so mine are very average, and I know that, and that's why I work to improve as much as I can, given my gear, and I stay pretty pleased with it. Okay, it's finished focusing. It has a quality within an error of 96%. It feels like it's got the best focus it's going to get. And we're on the blue filter right now, and it's taking the first 5-second image. And this is Andromeda. Now keep in mind, this is just a 5-second image you're going to see. So, and this is only for the stars. I will shoot 20 images for stars, for red, for green, and for blue. So this is the blue element of Andromeda. And I'll zoom up a little, and you can see some of the you see the core real well and some of the luminosity surrounding it. That's all blue, but I'm only really interested in the stars. I want the stars to be colorful and not oversaturated or blown out. I don't want the stars to be so white they're overexposed. And that's the problem when you take long exposure deep space images, is that you have to do that to get the galaxy photons and the nebula photons. But you also expose the stars to, they're bright. They don't need to be exposed that long. In fact, here's a 5-second exposure, and there's a lot of good detail in these stars. So I shoot the stars separately, and we're about done. We've taken 20 red, 20 green, 20 blue since I've been online. Not 20 blue, but 4 blue. And I've been online for an hour. Golly, have I been on? That's the fastest hour. Wow. 52 minutes. Wow. I don't know the answer to that, Key John. And he said, what is the most common star color? I don't know. I think since all stars are burning hydrogen, um, red would be my answer, but they're also burning oxygen, helium, and go right down the periodic table because that's how the gases burn. And so you want to hear something crazy? I like to image the sun, and if you are on my channel, you'll see where I image the sun. And if you do watch any of those videos, you'll hear me say this because I say it a lot. And it's only because I still marvel at this. But fusion occurs at the core of the sun, inside the sun, at the center. There's just nuclear fusion is happening intense as you can't imagine. I can't imagine what it's like. But photons are part of the result of that fusion, and those photons take about 100,000 years to reach the surface of the sun. They fight their way to the surface of the sun, going through all of the nuclear fusion aftermath, and it takes 5 minutes to get to my sensor. Once it makes it to the sun, then that photon, it takes 5 minutes to make it to my sensor. Now, the light from Saturn is coming from the sun. So the sun is lighting up Saturn, just like when like the moon lights up your house when it's out at night. And so the sun lights up Saturn, and that's why we see Saturn right now. And so the photons coming from Saturn have been traveling for an awful long time that strike my sensor that allows me to see what's going on. Isn't that crazy stuff? It's just crazy stuff. Hard to wrap your head around it at times. Mm. Yeah, we're got both working, and I don't know how close we are I'm going to wait and see. We're at 2,400 frames, and we're taking 3,000 frames for each movie file, and that will stop in just a few seconds because we're almost at 3,000, and then it'll tell me how many we have left. We have 3 remaining, so I set this up to take 20, and I want to go look and see real quick here where Jupiter is. All right, and I need to click on it and find out. Well, I need to hold the mouse on it, and it is at 26 degrees altitude. I'm looking right here, so it's high enough now that it's over my house, and I can slew to it. So as soon as we finish up with Saturn, and we're about done, I think we have a couple more. We're going to go over and take say goodbye to Saturn and pick up Jupiter. Red, blue, and yellow. Red stars, though, often are like Betelgeuse, are dying stars, and the newer stars are usually blue, and so there. Uh-oh, here's your clouds. This, as predicted, we've lost. Let's go ahead and stop. Well, starting back up again. All right, that was quick, and let's hope it doesn't get any worse than that. If it is, I'll stay out here. Oh lordy, look at my guiding. Something's happening. It's the same guide star too. So seeing is not going to be helpful to guiding tonight either. All right, let's finish this capture. I already know the last 2 AVI files will probably be unusable, so I'll just probably delete those. I don't know, the very last one might, if this is the last one, this one might be okay. Wendy, I don't understand what you just said to me. I don't understand. Okay, this I think is the last one. No, one remaining. So it's number 17, not number 18, not 19. It's number 18 that had the clouds. So we'll delete that one. And we ought to be getting close to, yeah, we finished the blues. So now it's going to go back and take the lume filters and then RGB. But I don't think we're going to have all night to image. Tomorrow night, I have 3 photo assignments, and one of them's outside. I probably get rained out. 2 of them are inside. two are going on at the same time in two different arenas. So I'll be going back and forth. And I think one of them's going to be on ESPN. It's a high school volleyball game. It's one of the winningest girls volleyball coaches in the country, Paula Kirkland. And I am not positive of that. All right, we finished this. So we're going to stop guiding. And it wasn't doing much good anyway. And we're going to bring up our planetarium software. And we're going to go up here and select Jupiter. Before I do that, though, I want to put the planet Saturn back up there. And I want to sync that. Yes. Okay. Now let's head to Jupiter, and let's bring up our camera. I want to make sure, since I'm not outside, that the mount's moving in the direction of Jupiter. And if something is not right, you may see me leave this chair very quickly. I'll be running out there to fix stuff before I have a mount crash. So here we go. Let's start slewing. And let's bring up the software. And I don't think we're slewing. All right. We're on Jupiter, so let's try it again. Or else. Here we go. Back outside. So the telescope is headed to Jupiter. That's about right. And so we ought to be close. So let's go to our guiding software and let's start it back up again. And we're not in the bullseye, but we're close enough for government work. So let's bring up our hand controller. Let's change the speed to 2 times sidereal, and let's go west, and let's move it up into crosshairs. And now let's go south. A little too far. I may be already in there we go. So there's our planet. And let me change. Let me get it centered correctly. All right, that's 150%. That's fine. All right, let's bring this down. Let's see, west goes up, so it'll be east a little bit. Nah, south. Oh, come back here. The orientation of PhD is different than the orientation here. So now I forgot what's up. South. All right, let's go back down to west. And let's go 1 north punch. Let's change this to 1 times sidereal because we're moving too quickly. Let's go north. Too far. Okay, you want to see one of the moons of I'm going to overexpose this some more. And here's one of the moons of Jupiter. So, and now let's move this west again. All right, now let's start guiding. See if we can keep it there and find a guide star. That's a good one. This is the moon we're looking at, I think, right here. And it could be this one. I don't know which one it is. It could be any number. There's 56 of them. And so I overexposed Jupiter because the moons are not as illuminated as the giant Jupiter is from the sun. So let's drag this down, exposure down to, let's also bring the, we'll drag our exposure up some. And because I absolutely do not know what Jupiter is supposed to look like, let's bring up WinJupos. And let's look at WinJupos and try to figure out, let's make sure we got Jupiter selected, and we do. And let's bring up the Ephemerades, and let's do real time. Okay, so here's the moon we were looking at right here in real time. So let's see what's going to happen to the moon when we advance this. All right, the moon's going to fall in front of, watch what happens, of Jupiter. It's going to throw a shadow. So, oh, this is going to be, oh, please, clouds, stay away. This is going to be so cool. This is what you kind of hope for. You've got the great red spot. You've got one of the moons, and I don't know which one that is. I can find out. And then you have the shadow, because the sun's, you can tell which way the sun's illuminating the planet, because here's where the shadow's being thrown. Isn't that cool? So that's, let's see, what time will that be? It'll be 1:30. This is universal time, so I'm in Eastern Standard Time. I have to minus 4 hours when we're on daylight savings time and 5 hours when we're on standard time. So it'll be 1:37, but let's go back. It could be as early as 1:17. If the clouds leave me alone, I'll stay up for that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but how cool is that? So anyway, let's get back to, let's see what is happening now with Andromeda. Here's a meteor. Here's a meteor streak right here. So I get those all the time, and they are what they are. Airplanes fly through meteors. Someone was asking me if we ever see asteroids, and so here's what I'll try to illustrate that. I'm going to go over to PixInsight, and I'm going to minimize this, and I'll close that out. And I'm going to bring up, this is the star field for the red channel, and this is the star field for the green channel. And let's say that I took this year and I took this last year. I would just layer it on top of each other, and then I would actually zoom in, but I would go back and forth between the two images, and I'm going back and forth. You can see green, red, and I'd be looking at the star field to see if any of these stars are moving. And that's when I compare an image I took this year with an image I took last year, this year with 2 years ago, this year with 3 years ago, this year with 4 years ago, because I shoot the same targets every year. And I add a few new ones, but you can just toggle back and forth. It's called blinking back and forth between the two images, and you can look for asteroids. And then if you think you found one, you can go to, I think it's, what's the website? Oh, what is it? This is I removed the stars from the galaxy. So this is the galaxy without the stars because I don't want to use those stars. I took these RGB stars, and these are the stars I'm going to use. These small, colorful, tight ones. So that's what I'm using. And I'll just go over here to make the image. I'll bring up Pixel Math, and let me bring it up. And I'll say, I'll go to the expression editor, and I'll say, I want to take the picture called show. I'm reading over here, show, up here to show photo metcal 2. So show photo metcal 2. That's this one. And I'm going to add, put the plus sign, and I'm going to go find the stars. And here's the stars. So I'm adding the stars picture to this picture. And I'm going to go down here to, I'm going to close that out first. I'll click OK. And then I'm going to create, I want to create a new image. There goes the clouds. And I'll just click okie dokie. Wait a minute, I got to drag this onto this one. And then there's that image plus the stars. I just add them back. So I remove them from my target. I just get rid of them because I don't want them. And then I take the short exposure stars, process those separately, and add them back. That's what I keep talking about, if it makes any sense. Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, it is how Pluto was discovered. Sure was. Let's go back, and we don't want that. Let's go see where in the sky. Well, I didn't lose any stars imaging Andromeda, but I'll show you why. Let's bring out my outside camera and log on to it. This is the stellar view refractor that's imaging Andromeda. So it's headed towards the north. It's in the northeast, and Jupiter's in the southeast. So they're in different parts of the sky, and the clouds are south of us, coming up from, you know what, coming up from the hurricane. And see, they're getting closer right now to, that's where I live. Where this arrow is where my home is, my backyard. It's where you're watching right now, so daggone it. It is what it is. I'm not complaining. I wish I had clear skies every night, but again, I'm not complaining. I'm so thankful I'm not living here right now. They will be without power for weeks. That's the thing I hate, is that, and it may happen to us too, we lose it all the time due to, well, not all the time, but we lose it about once a year due to the effects of tornadoes or hurricanes. We're close enough to the coast that hurricanes can whip us. I think my Jupiter, let's go over there. I think my Jupiter is having a cow right now. Yeah, this is where we're losing star loss. So we've got clouds, and if we look at Jupiter, it's disappeared. And it's because it's covered with a cloud. So let's stop guiding so we don't have to hear that noise. And we're just going to leave things as they are because Jupiter's not going anywhere. But unfortunately, the great red spot, and I think that's the moon low, L-O. I was trying to find it with my iPhone while I'm trying to. I've actually, you gotta say that I'm pretty good at keeping three things going at one time. For an old, here it comes, for an old man. I don't want my wife to know because she doesn't even think I can do one thing at a time, and I want to keep it just that way. You married 55 years in March 30th. It's hard to say that. It really doesn't seem like it. 55 years, March 30th. Wow. I was asked what the key to a good marriage was once in Sunday school class, and I have the answer for whatever it's worth. I took my wife to Hawaii at the end of our first year of marriage, and then on our 50th, I went back and got her, brought her home. Just kidding. Just kidding. Come on, Jupiter, break through the clouds. If you're just joining, we're losing our war against the clouds, and Ian, the Ian, I don't know, I can't hardly pronounce it. It's just three words, three letters. I'm having a hard time pronouncing it. Ian, Ann. Wendy, you have an appropriate, it's Wandy, not Wendy. I was going to say you have an appropriate name for tonight, but it's Wandy. '56. I'm 78. I was born in May of 1943, 44, 78. I still walk 4 miles every day. I have a lightweight workout 3 days a week. And I've done that most of my life. There's very few times, apart from the pandemic, when I wasn't in the gym, either early morning or right around lunchtime. I got you. My gender is non-female. Well, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of success. And if you just joined, and some of you have, the reason is because of this. I have family living right here in Plantation, Florida. And they're really being banged up right now. Mm. We have good friends on the coast in Savannah, Georgia. Guiding's still good over on Andromeda's side of the world. So, well, I take that back. I'm seeing some thin layers of clouds in this image. I think, yeah. Oh, my goodness. It's terrible. Uh, wow. I'm looking at, this is terrible. The mean's 11,435. I like it around 1,000. So signal to noise is pitiful. So, yeah. Well, we're trying. We are trying. So this is Andromeda the Galaxy. There's another galaxy associated with Andromeda here, and there's one here. In fact, in this image, if you zoom in, you could probably count another dozen galaxies in this image alone that I can see. There's probably billions. Um, that telescopes outside our atmosphere can resolve. Yeah, I agree with you. Duck and cover is duck and cover is a good way to sum things up, Key John. Well, tell your mother hello, and I was born May 14th. So if she's 1 month older than I am, tell her I have utmost respect for her. Yes, man. It's hard to live that long. Hey, it's even harder to live that long and be married for 55 years. I tell Marianne, my wife's name's Marianne. The kids renamed her Mimi. The grandkids renamed her Mimi, so we call her Mimi now. And I'm Dee Dee because they couldn't pronounce uh, granddaddy, so they got the Dee Dee right. So I'm Dee Dee. She's Mimi. And oh, I told you guys the other day. Some of you are online that my dog, my Kevishon, my little dog, 13 years, going on 14, was diagnosed with, well, the vet said the tumor she had, he was 95% sure it was cancer. And so we've been just kind of watching her very closely to make sure she's not in distress. And if she is, um, well, we're going to have to say goodbye. And I'll have to send her ahead to meet me. But if we want to keep things going the way they are right now until that happens. Marianne said right before I came online, she said, "Ed, I her little you can feel the tumor. It's in her underbelly, and she said, Ed, it's smaller. It isn't as big as it was. Well, I wonder if it's one of those cysts because it wasn't biopsied." He said biopsy could cause a real problem, spill things out, make infection set in, and he didn't want to try that. So, smaller is better. And no, I really, well, I take that back. I spend a lot of time with tech, Wendy, tech stuff. So I'm more tech savvy than most probably men my age. And which goes to show you how much smarter they are than I am in the grand scheme of things. Because you can really spin your wheels with this stuff if you're not careful. And they're out enjoying golf, hanging out with their buddies, having a cold one here, a cold one there. And I'm in my backyard in my stocking feet trying to figure out how to plug the telescope into a receptacle that I can't see real good. So I don't know uh, who's the smarter one, but I love this hobby. I don't mean to be self-deprecating. I tell it like it. Well, I don't always tell it like it is. I embellish things sometimes. My wife tells me. I call it creative expression. It's kind of like doing my tax returns. A lot of creative arithmetic. When was the last time you heard the word arithmetic? Wonder if we got Jupiter at all anymore. Hey, it's back. Well, let's go ahead and guide again. Clear. Start it. And start guiding. Let's spoke too soon. Tell you what I am going to do though. I'm going to dumb down the noise on that laptop. Let me find that laptop. It is right there. Oh, it's already down. Well, then I'm going to dumb it down on my computer. There we go. I don't know if we're going to be able to do much more than what we're doing. This thing was getting awful close. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm going to be under this. Um, it's going to be skirting my backyard. It's already there. Okay. I'm even a little bit concerned because I see rain and in the blue and the green, heavy rain in the green, and there's rain in that blue, and that could be. I don't know that I want to image. I may go throw the covers on the scopes in the next few minutes and go watch Call the Midwife with my wife. My wife says Call the Midwife is one of the best television series ever created. She's been binging on it for a week or so and is in season 11. So if you're looking for a good series, according to Marianne, it's a good. Oh, here we're back. I'm afraid to guide because every time I try doing that, um, oh, it's still losing stars. So we won't. Let's just shut that part down. Well, let's do one thing really before I get out of here. I want to take one. Let's try it wouldn't be a 9 if I didn't take an image of it. So let's take a single capture of 5,000 frames. And we're off. And after this, I think I'm going to say goodnight to everybody once I get this. And I'm probably going to start closing both telescopes, with this being the reason. There's rain it's right over Columbia now. Oh, it's south of Columbia, South Carolina. But this thing's getting closer. And, oh, I don't want to hear about it, K. John. Where in Kansas are you? I've been in Maryville, Kansas, going up to Fremont, Nebraska. I've been uh, used to make that trip from Boonville up to Fremont, and yeah, it does look awesome. Uh, talking about talking about Jupiter looking awesome with the naked eye. Yep, this is what I'm afraid of right here. That's going to get me wet before morning. It's not supposed to though. But then I was supposed to have clear skies until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and well, I may get my 5,000 frames in. There is kind of a dark spot right here that has nothing to do with the planet. That's dust on the sensor. Because the planet's moving. Here we go. Clouds. The planet is moving, but that dust doesn't. Well, fiddle diddles. Clouds win. Clouds 1, Overstreet Observatory 0. Folks, I'm going to say goodnight to you. I think I'm up against some breezes and some potential rain, and I'm going to go ahead and just call this an unfortunate night where I had great hope. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. I hope nobody's going to be in harm's way of this thing. Nobody loses their homes or their lives. And it's prayer time in South Carolina for the folks south of us. And it may even happen here. So I hope everybody has a great night. Catch you later.